welcome. Good afternoon. As Speaker of the House, it is an honor for me to join all of you in saluting John Dingell on behalf of a grateful Congress and a grateful country. Tomorrow, a flag will fly over the Capitol in honor of John Dingell's accomplishment of becoming the longest-serving member of the House of Representatives. And what service it has been. President Kennedy once said, "No government is better than the people who serve it. We want the best, we need the best, and we deserve the best." In the 12,420 days, we have had the best in John Dingell. They're applauding every line. Tonight, we have the opportunity to pay tribute to our colleague, not just for the longevity of his service, the length of his service, but of the quality, the excellence, and the patriotism of it. It's also a personal privilege for me because my father, Thomas D'Alessandro, served with John Dingell's father in the Congress of the United States. It is fitting that on John's night, we thank and congratulate his family, his wife, the lovely Deborah, as he would say, and his children, Christopher and Jennifer. I'd also like to say how absolutely thrilled and honored we are to have President Clinton be with us tonight. We were all together when President Clinton honored John. Was that a birthday? We had a big party, and once again honored by a great president. It is a thrill for all of us. Every chapter of John Dingell's life has been lived in the service of our country. John first came to these halls as a congressional page, a teenager, and only a few short years later, he served the Congress of the country as a second lieutenant in the Army. What's interesting is that when he was a page, he was in the chamber, standing on the House floor when President Roosevelt asked Congress to declare war on Japan. He then went on, as I say, to serve our country in the military in that war. It also began a public life dedicated to making America strong at both at home and abroad. A member of the greatest generation, John Dingell applied his brilliant mind, his great judgment, and his broad vision to making the future better for generations to come. John always made clear that a strong America had to be a healthy America, continuing a tradition begun by his father in the Congress. In every Congress, John has introduced a bill for universal national health insurance. Because of his tireless work in securing health care for the elderly, John presided in the House. In 1965, he presided when Medicare was passed into law. The gavel he used that day still sits on his desk. To work alongside John Dingell is to be inspired by the history of our institution and humbled by the seriousness of our work. John is a symbol of leadership and of continuity. On December 13, 1955, John took over the seat that had been occupied by his late father. After hearing his father's colleagues eulogize John Dingell Sr., John stepped up and said, "My father loved and respected the House and all its members. If I can be half the man my father was, I shall feel I am a great success. Humility, leadership. John, we are here tonight to say that we love you and we respect you, and by any measure, your leadership and your success has been unsurpassed. Thank you, John Dingell, for your tremendous leadership. Before yielding the podium, I want to acknowledge that our Speaker Foley is to my left. Speaker Foley, thank you for joining us this evening. John's good friend in the Congress. I am now proud to introduce great senator from the great state of Michigan, Senator Carl Levin. Carl?
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Before John Dingell became a member of the House, he was a son and a student of the House. His father, Congressman John Dingell Sr., was a New Dealer and a passionate advocate of FDR's agenda. While we note today John Dingell's milestone in time, his longevity is really a footnote. What we celebrate today is his impact on legislation that has so improved the lives of our people. He contributed to the creation of Medicaid and Medicare, to the Civil Rights Bills, to the Endangered Species Act and the Clean Air Act, just to name a few. His devotion to public service is the thread which ties him to the men and women of America's storied past, who are represented here in Statuary Hall and throughout the Capitol. 54 years from now, or 154 years from now, when historians look back for models of public service, John Dingell will stand among the best that America has to offer. John can be tough, running procedural circles around even the most skilled legislative adversaries, and he can be gruff. For instance, comparing a proposal that he thinks is foolish or unnecessary to, quote, side pockets on a cow or feathers on a fish. And he has been known, as recently as this morning's paper, to dismiss the U.S. Senate as the, quote, home of trouble for legislation. That's where I live, down the hall. This tough and gruff congressman has a soft side, and her name is Debbie. She's personable and glowing and brings extraordinary energy to everything she touches. Debbie and John are each powerhouses in their own right, and their relationship is a perfect synergy. While Debbie is everywhere, raising funds for great causes and creating personal relationships that enrich so many lives, John is only where he needs to be, focusing like a laser on legislative and policy goals. There is a common thread in the Dingell's legislative maneuvers, charitable endeavors, and even John's unique use of language. They are all devoted to the goal of helping everyday people. People back home love Big John because they know that he is fighting for their jobs, their health, and their children. And that is why the best way to really understand John's impact on the people that he represents is to make a visit to Dingell country. In John's district, people have placed John's name on roads, bridges, parks, and libraries, not just to honor him, but to inspire others. Just talk to a few of John's fellow veterans at a VA medical center in Detroit. Those vets feel a little better and a little stronger, knowing that they live in the John Dingell VA Medical Center, or stop by the UAW regional headquarters in Taylor, Michigan, and tell them that you've stood shoulder to shoulder with John Dingell, fighting for America's workers. and you won't get a warmer welcome anywhere in America. John is beloved in his district. He has been a role model to me and my older brother, Sandy, Congressman Levin, since we arrived here in Congress. Emphasis on the older brother, you all noticed. In fact, the link between the Dingell and the Levin families started in the 1930s when our dad and our dad's brother Ted campaigned for John's dad to the U.S. Congress. Later, as a young lawyer, John Dingell served as a clerk for our Uncle Ted after he was appointed as a federal judge in Michigan. So on behalf of our Michigan delegation, on behalf of the state of Michigan, our thanks to the now all-time Dean of the House of Representatives. John Dingell is a great institution within this great institution. The word bipartisanship is invoked frequently, but practiced all too infrequently. Congressman Joe Barton of Texas and John Dingell have lived bipartisanship on the Energy and Commerce Committee and truly enjoy each other's company and support. And it's my pleasure now to introduce Congressman Joe Barton.
Thank you, Senator. I'm honored to be allowed to be one of the speakers at John Dingell's ceremony this evening. I want to thank Debbie Dingell, Chairman Dingell, Speaker of the House, for picking me to be the token Republican in this event. I do want to compliment the Speaker. I haven't been in the Speaker's quarters in 3 years until this evening. And when Newt Gingrich was Speaker in the conference room, you walked in and saw a head of Tyrannosaurus Rex. Speaker Pelosi has softened that image. She now has pastel colors and a very nice portrait of President Abraham Lincoln. So thank you, Madam Speaker. This may be a harbinger of things to come. I may be allowed to be on a conference committee now that I've been in the Speaker's quarters. So thank you, Chairman Dingell, for honoring that. We have former Speaker Foley. We have former Chairman of the Energy and Commerce Committee, Billy Tozan, here. The former Minority Leader, Mr. Bob Michel.